Right now, the absolute unthinkable is happening in the very heart of the Middle East. The skies above one of the most ancient and heavily fortified cities on planet Earth are tearing open. We are talking about Jerusalem. For decades, the Holy City has been considered a strict red line, a place so globally sacred and historically significant that even in the darkest days of regional conflict, it was largely spared from direct heavy bombardment. But that red line has just been completely and violently erased. Between midnight and Monday afternoon, the Islamic Republic of Iran launched massive, relentless separate missile barrages directly at the state of Israel. And here is the terrifying reality that military planners are waking up to this morning. Several of these heavy Iranian warheads actually managed to break completely through the world-famous Israeli air defense network. They bypassed the Iron Dome, they evaded the advanced arrow interceptors, and they came crashing down directly into civilian residential areas across the country. Air raid sirens screamed across northern, central, and southern Israel throughout the entire day. But the most chilling moments came when those terrifying sirens echoed twice through the ancient stone streets of Jerusalem. While the Israeli air defense systems did successfully intercept the vast majority of these incoming ballistic missiles, the sheer volume of the salvo meant that it was simply a numbers game. Warheads and massive flaming debris from the high-altitude interceptions rained down from the sky, slamming into the ground with devastating force. We are seeing reports of massive jagged metal fragments landing dangerously close to the National Library, which sits directly adjacent to the Knesset, the absolute epicenter of Israeli government and political power. Even more terrifying, debris was found scattered deep inside Jerusalem's old city, landing just steps away from the historic Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The symbolism of this destruction simply cannot be overstated. Outside of the capital, the physical damage is severe and highly localized. In the city of Rishon LeZion, a quiet residential home took an absolute direct hit from a falling warhead, violently obliterating the structure. A second heavy warhead plunged from the sky and struck a family home in the town of Shoham, causing catastrophic structural damage to the entire building. A third massive impact cratered Route 431, physically tearing the thick asphalt apart and forcing the immediate partial closure of a major national highway. Israeli President Isaac Herzog personally rushed to the smoking impact site in Rishon LeZion, standing amidst the rubble to deliver a defiant message to the terrified public. He stated bluntly that their enemies in Iran are trying in a cowardly way to harm innocent citizens right in the heart of peaceful residential neighborhoods. He promised the nation that they would overcome these unprecedented challenges and utterly defeat their enemies. And the human toll of this massive multi-front war is absolutely staggering. The Israeli Health Ministry has just released highly alarming new figures, stating that at least 3,369 people, including both innocent civilians and active duty military personnel, have been injured and rushed to hospitals since the start of this brutal United States and Israeli war on Iran. That devastating figure includes a staggering 142 people who were severely wounded in just the past 24 hours alone. But if you think the Israeli military is just absorbing these heavy blows and staying quiet, you are completely misjudging the situation. On the offensive side of the board, the Israeli Air Force is executing an absolutely ruthless, methodical dismantling of the Iranian regime's most prized infrastructure. While the sirens were wailing in Jerusalem, Israeli fighter jets were simultaneously conducting extensive, deep penetration strikes across Tehran, Shiraz, and Tabriz. And the targets they are hitting are sending a very clear, very lethal message to the highest levels of the Iranian leadership. In a massive, highly symbolic blow, the Israeli Air Force successfully tracked and completely destroyed the private luxury aircraft of the late former Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. They did not just hit it in the air, they blew it to pieces right on the tarmac at Tehran's Mehrabad airport. The IDF confirmed that this specific aircraft was the ultimate VIP transport, heavily used by Khamenei and the highest-ranking senior Iranian military officials to secretly manage military procurement. They used this heavily guarded plane to fly across the region, advancing critical relations with their allied proxy groups through highly secure domestic and international travel. By turning that plane into a burning pile of scrap metal, Israel just delivered a massive operational blow to Iran's ability to coordinate with its so-called axis of resistance. But the Israeli Air Force did not stop at the airport. They pushed even deeper into the capital and completely annihilated a highly classified Iranian space research facility located right inside Tehran. This was not a civilian science lab. According to Israeli intelligence, this facility was actively being used by the Iranian regime to rapidly develop terrifying new capabilities designed specifically for attacking global satellites. This included highly advanced, top-secret programs directly linked to the Iranian Chamran-1 satellites. The Israeli military proudly released crystal-clear before and after satellite imagery of the smoking crater where the facility used to stand, stating that it posed an imminent, direct threat to Israeli military satellites and the critical space assets of other Western nations. Meanwhile, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is pushing its own intense narrative of massive destruction. The IRGC released a boastful statement claiming that their terrifying aerial blitz specifically targeted and pounded Israel's most secretive military aerospace weapons production centers, along with their critical aerial fuel support hubs. The IRGC claims they unleashed their most lethal advanced weaponry for this specific barrage, including the hypersonic ballistic missile known as the Fatah, alongside their massive long-range Imedad and Qadr ballistic missiles. While they refuse to specify exactly which Israeli aerospace facility they claim to have hit, the implication is terrifying. These military aerospace centers are the absolute crown jewels of Israeli defense, responsible for developing hyper-advanced systems designed for air-to-air combat, air-to-surface engagement, and orbital space defense, featuring hypersonic speeds, precision artificial intelligence guidance, and top-tier technology. But the Iranian regime is not just fighting Israel right now. They are actively expanding this war to target the United States military directly. Iran's elite paramilitary force proudly claimed to have launched devastating strikes against massive US military gathering points across the Persian Gulf. We are talking about the sprawling Al Dhafra Air Base in Abu Dhabi. We are talking about the Jufair Naval Base, also known as NSA Bahrain. And we are talking about the Sheikh Issa Air Base, also located in Bahrain. To execute this massive regional attack, the IRGC reportedly pulled out their absolute heavy hitters, unleashing a terrifying wave of solid-fueled road-mobile ballistic missiles, specifically the Fatah, the Dezful, and the Zulfiqar. And if you look slightly north to the battlegrounds of Iraq, the situation is spiraling completely out of control. The sprawling, heavily fortified United States Embassy compound in the Iraqi capital of Baghdad was just subjected to yet another terrifying attack by Iran-aligned Islamic resistance fighters. Panic gripped the city as air raid sirens echoed across the Iraqi capital following back-to-back, low-altitude drone attacks swarming the diplomatic compound. The Iraqi air defense systems were forced to scramble in a sheer panic as the drones rapidly approached the green zone, raising massive fears of a widening containable security crisis right in the heart of the city. According to Iraqi security sources, the defense system did manage to successfully intercept and violently destroy the drones near the US Embassy in central Baghdad. Earlier in the day, similar hostile drones were detected probing the airspace near the massive Balad Air Base, one of Iraq's largest and most vital military installations located just north of Baghdad. This escalating drone activity is part of a growing, highly coordinated wave of attacks targeting the most strategic military and diplomatic locations across the country. Tensions had already reached a boiling point earlier in the day when a violent attack on Camp Victory, the critical US military installation located right near Baghdad International Airport, triggered a massive fire and reportedly wounded at least 5 people. But it is the newly released footage of this specific attack that has sent absolute shockwaves across the Middle East, and all the way to the heavily guarded halls of power in Washington, D.C. A pro-Iran Iraqi resistance group known as Kataib Hezbollah just released a chilling, high-definition video purportedly showing exactly how they bypassed the multi-million-dollar American air defenses. They used FPV drones. The video shows a first-person view kamikaze drone strike directly on the highly secure US Victory base. In the terrifying footage, you can clearly see 2 of these incredibly small, unbelievably fast FPV drones hovering right over the critical American base, completely undetected by the massive, highly advanced radar systems below. The camera feed shows the drone flying right over a massive military hangar, buzzing past several other sensitive buildings, before violently diving straight toward a dome-structured building and detonating. The second part of the released footage shows another FPV drone effortlessly flying over an apparent cargo and logistics area inside the base, moving rapidly toward the main runway, and crashing directly into a critical structure alongside it. Military experts are absolutely terrified by this footage. They are stating that this strike represents the very first known highly successful use of a low-cost FPV attack drone by an Iranian proxy militia against a fortified United States base in Iraq. So what exactly are FPV drones, and why are they suddenly becoming the absolute most feared weapons on the modern battlefield? These are incredibly small, highly agile aerial drones equipped with simple onboard cameras, but they are completely changing the fundamental face of modern warfare. These drones transmit crystal clear live video feeds directly to a human operator, sitting miles away, often wearing a virtual reality headset. This allows the pilot to see exactly what the drone sees in real time and manually, violently guide it toward a target with absolute pinpoint precision. Originally designed for innocent backyard racing and civilian hobby use, these tiny quadcopters are now increasingly being adapted by militant groups as lethal one-way kamikaze attack, drones capable of carrying highly explosive payloads. But here is the truly terrifying part that keeps generals awake at night. The economics of this new warfare are completely broken. These lethal FPV drones can cost only a few $100s to build from basic over-the-counter commercial parts. This makes them infinitely cheaper and vastly more expendable than traditional multi-million-dollar precision-guided missiles. but despite their incredibly low cost, they are fully capable of inflicting massive catastrophic damage on highly expensive military infrastructure. The war in the Middle East is rapidly entering a terrifying, unprecedented new phase. As Iran continues to violently lash out at US bases and relentlessly bombard Israeli towns and cities, a brand new, highly adaptable threat is emerging that has even the most advanced, expensive air defense systems in the world scrambling for answers. We are talking about massive swarms of cheap, highly maneuverable FPV drones and low-cost unmanned systems that can easily fly under the radar, completely overwhelm traditional interceptors, and strike high-value targets with absolute deadly precision. These low-cost, incredibly hard-to-detect aerial weapons are forcing the greatest militaries on Earth to completely rethink their entire defense strategy. Because right now, the traditional billion-dollar defense systems are struggling to survive against endless waves of agile, $200 plastic drones that can easily slip through the cracks and completely reshape the modern battlefield. The rules of war have officially changed, and no base, no matter how heavily fortified, is truly safe anymore. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe the channel.